Hi, once again, good evening and a warm welcome to all the participants in today's webinar. Unfortunately, the Zoom client crashed as we were just starting off, and because of that, I dropped off and then I had to restart everything. Uh, Apology for the inconvenience and obviously for the delay. So, without spending any more time, let's quickly get started. I've already shared with you, but I'm not sure how many of you have listened to that. So I'll just very quickly repeat that. Very important thing that we are joining here and you want to understand about how you can activate ONDC onto your online store. We will be doing a step-by-step walkthrough. I'll be guiding you through all the steps, and there can be a possibility that what I'm sharing with you is not very clear, or some you may have some other question, or you may have a doubt. So in that case, how can you get a clarification on that? For that, down below you'll see there's an option called Q&A. You can use that to ask your question. Technically, you can ask your question by the method of chat as well, but sometimes there's a lot of exchange happening between the members themselves in the chat or between the participants, and that's where there's a possibility that your chat may get missed out, although I will also review the chat to see if there are any questions there. But it is better you can ask your question in the Q&A. I hope everyone can hear me properly in the tracker. I can see the audio levels are all good. So without spending any more time, let's begin. So I'll start off with the session with a quick introduction about myself. My name is Adnan. I'm Director SME e-commerce growth at GlobalLinker. My focus area at GlobalLinker is digital commerce. In addition to that, I actively work on educating or guiding business owners on how they can use digital to grow their business. And so far, I had this wonderful opportunity of conducting more than 350 training workshops and webinar, and had been able to share some knowledge and some wisdom with about 12,000 business owners from various countries. So that is a quick introduction about myself. I regularly, almost on a daily basis, I conduct training workshops at 5:30 p.m. Today's is a special one where we are discussing about the ONDC, but we have regular sessions also that happen at 5:30 p.m. They happen on Google Meet. Wednesdays and Thursdays session happen on Zoom. And today is that special session where we are going to discuss about ONDC. So let's get started. Once again, good evening and a very warm welcome to all the participants, and apologies for that technical issue of my Zoom client has clashed. And because of that, we had to restart the webinar. All right, so this is where we are going to start sharing my screen, and we will proceed ahead. So within few seconds, you'll start seeing my screen. And firstly, I'll quickly take you through, or I have a presentation which I will show to you, but we'll just use that presentation for reference. I'm not going to bore you with a presentation. So certainly not like that, but we'll use presentation as a reference so that we can like stay on the right path. Otherwise, like we can get lost with our discussions. So we'll just use that. All right, so let me start sharing my screen. And I will minimize this so that it is not obstructing our view. So this is where we are getting started, and this is where I'm going to guide you. I'm going to provide you a step-by-step guide on how you can activate ONDC onto your online store, and you can start selling on ONDC network with GlobalLinker. So firstly, let's understand the steps which are there. So there are four broad steps. One is you have to enable ONDC onto your online store. Then you have to do the product mapping, and then you have to add mandatory information. And lastly, you have to comply with other ONDC mandatory requirement. And in this sheet, we'll see the list of the ONDC mandatory requirement. And I'll also share with you a tracker which you can use to go through this or evaluate if there is any issue in your ONDC activation. So the first step, I'm going to switch my screen and I'm going to take you to the seller panel of an online store. This is a demonstration store which I use for conducting my training workshops. So this is the seller panel, and this is where I'm assuming all of you have already created an online store for your business already on GlobalLinker. If you haven't done that, it is a very simple process and you can easily do that. Just log into your GlobalLinker account and follow the step-by-step process. So log into your account, click on online store, and then follow the step-by-step process, and you will be able to create your account once your online store is created. So this is where I'm starting off with the assumption that your online store is already created. You have already added products to it with all the necessary visuals, all the necessary information, all that is already done. So this is the hypothesis, or this is the assumption with which I'm starting off. Now I'm going to guide you with the steps which lie ahead of you in terms of activating or making your products visible on the ONDC network. So how you have to go through that, that's what I'm going to explain from here onwards. So the first step, as I explained to you, is to open the seller panel of your online store. Once you have opened the seller panel, what is the next thing that you have to do? So you have to go to store settings, which you can see is here in the left navigation. Here we have store settings. You have to click on that, and then you'll see store details. You have to click on that. So click on store settings and store details. So this is store settings and then store details. Now here you can see enable ONDC, and you'll be tempted to go there and click on it. Don't do that. Firstly, go to this section, which is address. And here you have to see that firstly the address is correct, and then this Google location is updated. So if your Google location is not updated, even if you enable ONDC, it will not get enabled. So just update the Google location. So I am very quickly going to do that like this. I'm just giving a hypothetical location, but in your case, you can give the exact location, and it is powered by Google. So it is very precise. And also see this address which you have added for your business, it is correct. The postal code is correct. Once you have ensured and you have also updated the Google location, if you have already updated, then you don't have to make any changes, but just ensure Google location is updated, the address is correct, and then click on save. So this is the first step when you are here in the address tab. So come to store details, first go to address tab, ensure that the address is correct and the Google location is updated, and then move to the ONDC, enable ONDC tab, right? Once you are here, you have to fill in this information. So the first one is GST number, and this is where very quickly I'll just use our GST number. And you don't have to essentially verify it. You can just input the GST number, and then now you have to add your bank account number here. Now we'll spend a minute here to understand firstly why this bank account is needed. And this is something that you should do very cautiously, because we have seen that there has been an issue wherein the bank account was not clearly added and we tried to transfer the fund, and the fund transfer failed. Thankfully, it failed because there was an issue. But in case it has gone to someone else's account, that would have been a bigger issues to solve. Now, coming to that very important question, that why are we asking this bank detail? So understand the construct here. So when you are selling on ONDC, you are representing or an entity called seller network participant is representing the seller. So you are using GlobalLinker's technology, which is a seller network participant who has gone through the complex certification process with ONDC. So you're using their technology to showcase your products, right? So how it works is because from a buyer app's perspective, And what is a buyer app? So buyer app is the other entity or the entity on the other side of the table. So we are the sellers, and then we have someone who is representing buyer, right? So for example, GlobalLinker is representing sellers. So Paytm or PhonePe is representing buyers, or my store is representing buyers, right? So they are bringing in the buyers, we are bringing in the sellers, right? So, and the ONDC network is what is connecting all of us together, right? So that is where when it comes to the fund settlement, so that is where from a buyer app's perspective, if they have to like settle and reconcile with like millions of individual buyers, so that's where it will become a very complex task for them. So what buyer apps prefer is they want to do this financial dealing with the seller network participants, which are fewer in number, right? So instead of Paytm dealing with thousands of individual sellers, what they are preferring to deal with individual GlobalLinker, and GlobalLinker will then in turn deal with all the sellers that are selling on the ONDC network through GlobalLinker. Hope the construct is clear to you. So this bank detail is required so that GlobalLinker can transfer the funds to you. Or let's understand the entire order flow. So you are representing, you are a seller, and just imagine, talking hypothetically, you're selling shoes, right? So you have added shoes to your online store, and those are now displayed on the ONDC network. And there is a buyer who sees your product on the ONDC network through any buyer app, and they places the order. Let's assume they saw your product on my store. They saw your product and they placed an order on my store. The order came to you through the ONDC network. You packed the order and you delivered that order. So you have delivered the order to the customer. Customer has received the order. You have updated the status, and my store now knows that the order has been delivered. Now, whenever the return period ends, after that, my store has to now pay to the seller that the order has been delivered. Here is your payment. Now, that payment will come to GlobalLinker, and then GlobalLinker will pay to you, who is the seller of that product. So that's how the entire cycle works. And this is where we need your bank account details so that we can settle the payment to you. And whenever you're adding this, add it cautiously so that there are no issues wherein the transfer is happening. Right? So I am just adding a hypothetical thing here. All right, so I've added the bank account, I've reconfirmed the bank account. This is the bank name, IFSC code, what type of account it is, and the name. So name of the hypothetical organization that I've created this online store, but in your case, it will be your business name. So again, with respect to the bank detail, these are like common things. So I don't think it needs elaboration. IFSC code, bank name, the name of the bank, the branch, account number. You have to re-enter the account number, account type, current or saving, and the account name. So this is the name of the entity in which the account is associated with. And then if the beneficiary address is the same as the store address, you don't have to type anything. Then just click on this select same as store address, and the store address gets pre-populated. But if it is the same, so the address which is linked to this bank account, if it is a different address, then you can type it here. Otherwise, if it is the same address which is there on your store, then you can tick this button and you can just populate that address. All right. So this is where. And then we have the disabled button, which you are seeing here. You have to turn it on. But before you do that, I would strongly recommend that you should click here, which is a TOS of ONDC participation. And you should spend some time. It will not take you more than 5 minutes to review or read this document. But I strongly recommend, or I request you that you should read this document, because this is where a lot of questions or queries that you may have related to ONDC. How will the settlement happen, and all other things, operational aspects. So you'll get a very good clarity onto that. So this is requirements and eligibility, order fulfillment, settlement charges, termination, etc. All that is clearly listed out here. Spend it will not take more than 5 minutes. So spend few minutes here, review this document. It will give you a good clarity, and then you can agree to terms of service, turn it on, and click on save and enable. Address line 2 should not be blank. So I will. All right, so ONDC is enabled. You have seen the congratulatory message. So if I circle back very quickly to the presentation which I was showing to you, so this is where we have done the step number 1. This is the step number 1. We have completed the step number 1. So far, it is a very easy thing, and you'll be able to do that in less than 5 minutes. So this is step number 1. Now we are moving to slightly more complex stuff, and that is mapping your products to the ONDC category. Let's see how it is done. So we are back on the seller panel, and now we will be navigating to the catalog section. How do we do that? So in the left navigation, we have catalog, and then we have products. So we'll click on product, and that will take us to the product management interface. On this demonstration stores, we have like very few products. So we'll just use one of the product to understand this process, and then I will disable the store. Otherwise, these dummy products will start appearing on ONDC. I don't want that to happen. So this is where let's use one product. So what I'm going to do, which one should we use? This blue shirt looks like a good example. So we can use that. So now with respect to updating, this is where, again, circling back to the presentation, mapping of the products to ONDC category, this can be done in bulk. So many of you who have a large catalog, you must be getting stressed. Like, I have to do it manually, one product at a time. It will take me a lot of time to do that. Don't worry, it is done in bulk. But for one product, you'll have to do it manually. You have to just one product. And after you have updated one product, the rest can be updated in bulk. All right. So let's understand how you can update that one product. And I will also explain the bulk process. All right. So this is where we have to click on this edit button, and it will take us to the screen. On the screen, straight away, scroll down all the way to the bottom. And that's where you will see there's an option called ONDC related details. Just click on that, and it will ask us for categories here. So it is parent category and subcategory. So basically what it is doing is it is asking us that please specify where should I show this product, in which category on the buyer app should I show this product, right? It has to be again done cautiously, because otherwise buyer apps will simply reject your products from showing there if you're mapping it in the wrong category. Obviously, they don't want to give an inferior experience to the customers that are visiting their application. It will not look nice, like you're in the shoes category and that's where you're seeing clothes. Not look nice. It will give a wrong presentation. So do this cautiously, but again, it is not very technical or something. So this is where the first thing that you have to do is to look at this drop down and see where does this product fall. So this is a shirt, a casual shirt. So obviously it will fall in fashion. We'll select fashion, and then we'll see the drop down. So this is where men's fashion accessory, men's footwear, men's, and this is, I think it is a menswear. Yeah, men's blue short sleeve shirt. So this should be in men's top wear. So this is how you have to select it. Now this is other than groceries. In grocery, there are few additional fields also which are required in certain category, because grocery also has edible item, and when it comes to edible items, government has mandated that certain information should be shared like IFSC codes, etc. So let me quickly share with you, although this is not a grocery product, what we are trying to do, but I'm just sharing with you in case of groceries, if you're trying to do this activity and that's where you start seeing additional fields, you may feel there's something wrong with the system. Why are there additional fields? Whereas when Adnan was giving the demo, there were no additional fields. So just to show you that, yes, there are certain categories where additional information is also required when you are mapping this product. Let me quickly show you. So for example, if we go to snacks and branded products, right? So snacks, chips, biscuits, etc. So for those kind of products, or even in gourmet food category, that is also in gourmet food category, IFSC code of the manufacturer or importer is required. So IFSC license number, importer IFSC license number, or brand IFSC license number. One of the three. All the three are not required. One of the three is required. So any one of the three can be added. So if you have the brands or the manufacturer's IFSC number, you can do that. Or if it is an imported product, in that case, you can add the importer's IFSC number, or there is any other IFSC number which is available. So sometimes brands get the product manufactured by a certain like contract manufacturing. In that case, the IFSC code of the manufacturing factory is also available. So in that case, you can add that, right? So that's why there are three places and one of the three is required, right? So I just thought of sharing with you in case you are doing it yourself and you come across these categories and you don't feel like, why am I seeing these categories? What is wrong? So it is required in certain category. All right. So let's go back to what we were doing, and that is we were doing the category mapping. So we'll select the correct category for this product, and that is men's topwear, and we will click on save. Now, once you have done that, then this is where we are still in updating that one product. So this is where we have done the category mapping for one product. Now we will go and update the variant level information, and this is where you have to click on price and variant, and we have to click on this pencil shaped icon, and it will open this overlay. On this overlay, again, you have to scroll down and you'll see this option, add ONDC related details. And this is where you have manufacturer or packer name, manufacturer or packer address, month or year of manufacturer, net quantity, units, and what is the measurement unit. Let me just quickly right? So I've added the manufacturer name. Now, if you are someone who is retailing the product, you are not the manufacturer, what are you expected to do? So this is where ideally, and this is how it should be. If you're ideally, it should be the manufacturer's name, manufacturer's address. So for example, the manufacturer of this product is, let's say, Reliance. So in that case, it should be Reliance, and then the name of the manufacturing unit, and then when it was manufactured, like that. But it may not be accessible, or it may not be readily available. So in that case, flexibility is provided there. So it can be manufacturer or packer. Packer is who will be packing the order before delivery to the customer. So in that case, you can add your name and your address as well. That is also okay, but not an ideal thing. The ideal thing is it should be the manufacturer's detail, but you can add your own details as well. For the timing, at a later stage, when you have time, you have bandwidth, you can update the manufacturer's detail. All right. And if you're a manufacturer yourself, then it is, you don't have to add anything. You have to just add your business name, your address, month and year of manufacture. So you can add any month, and then unit. So for this is 1 unit of the products, I've added 1 unit. If it is something which is like kilograms or weight, so in that case, you can also specify that what is the net unit. So for example, if the product is, let's say, 500 grams worth of, so in that case, it will be 500, and this is where it will be gram. like that. All right. So I'll just change that very quickly to 1 unit. And we will click on save. And we have updated it. If we want, we can update all the variants. I'm just doing that in one variant. So this is where we have updated one product. So we have updated this level of information, which is basically the mapping of the category in one product we have done. And then we have come here and we have updated the variant level information again in one variant. We have done that. So this is where the one product update activity, which I was referring to you or which I shared with you earlier, that is done. Now we have to go and update them in bulk. So this is where now I'm going to show you how you can do this update in bulk. So for that, we have to download this file. I'll just quickly download it. So the first file that you have to download is the download product. So we will download this one and save it. And I will just quickly open the file. So this is the file. We have like very few products here, but this is where you can see the categorization is there. So if there are different categorization, you can update them accordingly. And I will just simply show you and just copy paste them here like this. If it is the same categorization, sorry. And the point to remember here, or to the point which you should be a little cautious about, that this is where you have the category, parent category, and this is where you have the subcategories. So the order is inverse. First is sub, and then you have the parent. So be a little cautious about that. And then, then you have to just save this file and upload it. And I'll just show you how you do that. So I'll just save this file and we will go back to the seller panel and we will click on update and we will upload the file. So this is where the file is getting uploaded and the category mapping will get updated in all the products. It will take like few seconds to get updated. And once the upload process is done, you get the success notification that the upload has been done. That is where you can move to the other step, right? Surprisingly, it is taking more than few seconds. So let's wait for it to get completed. Yeah, now it is completed. So if we quickly circle back to the presentation, so this is where we have completed the step number 2 of mapping products to ONDC category. The step number 2 is over. Now we'll go to the adding ONDC mandatory information, manufacturer and packer name, that information I'm referring to. Now we will add that information. So we will quickly refresh the seller panel. Now the seller panel is refreshed. Now this is where you'll see there's an option called download CSV. We will click on that and we will now proceed ahead to update the CSV or the variant level information in bulk. So again, I will save this file very quickly and then we will open this file. There is a file, and here, if we scroll towards the right side of the file, that is where you will see these fields which we had updated. They are already here. These are the fields that I was referring to. Now, all we have to do is to copy paste them. So I will just quickly do that. So let's freeze the top row so that we don't get confused. Otherwise, because it is very far from the other end of the file. So these are the columns. Very quickly, just copy them to all the rows and then again save the file. And we will go back. This time we'll use this option bulk edit CSV and then we'll click on upload CSV and we will select the file and we will upload it. So this is where, again, it will take few seconds. It is done. So now we have completed the second step as well. And we will quickly have a look. So let's use this first product. So firstly, the categories should be mapped. So we'll just quickly go down and see if the categories are mapped. So you can see the categories are mapped. So this is okay. We'll go to variants and we'll just click on edit and we will again scroll down and we'll see you can see the ONDC mandatory information is also there. Let's look at other variant also just to reconfirm that it is added properly, right? So it is all added properly, looking good. So this is where we have completed the step number 3 as well. So far, I think the process is relatively simpler. Now we are on to the last step, and this is where a lot of businesses or a lot of people make mistakes. So this is where I will request everyone to understand this little attentively. So comply with the other ONDC mandatory requirement. What are these ONDC mandatory requirements? So I'll just move to the next slide. And this is where all the ONDC mandatory requirements are listed. All right. And I will also show to you how you can review these and you can do that quickly. The first ONDC mandatory requirement, which you can see on the screen, is the product inventory should be more than or equal to 5 units. So it's in simple words, inventory of each of the products or inventory of the products that you want to display on the ONDC network should be either 5 units or greater than 5 units. So how do you check for this thing, that what is the level of inventory? So we can use the variant file which we have just used for mapping the mandatory or adding the mandatory information. So there is a column called quantity in the same file. There's a column called quantity. So this is where you can see the inventory. And if there is any product that has less than 5 units of inventory, just change the inventory, save the file, and go back to the seller panel. Use the same process, bulk edit CS. We upload the file and the inventory will get updated. So this is the bulk process if you want to see this in manually, right? So in that case, just click here on the product title, click on edit. And here you have the stock. Right? So if you have to add the stock, you can click on add stock. If you have to remove the stock or you have to reduce the stock, you can do that from here. Now you have the second mandatory requirement, which is minimum 1 image should be uploaded. Now you can check this manually or visually. So you can go to the front end of your online store. Let me show you how you can do that. So we are going here. So I'll just copy the link. We will open it in one more tab. And you can review your products like this, open them on the front end and see if the visuals are there. There should not be any product that does not have visuals. So if every product has visuals, so then it is okay. No worries. So this is one step or one process which is available to you for checking whether all your products have visuals. The other one is also using the same file which I showed you earlier, and that is where we have these columns. So if you have uploaded images for each of the variant, in that case, it will start appearing here. If you have uploaded products manually and you have added like one image for all the variants of the products, in that case, it will not be visible. But if you have bulk uploaded the products, in that case, the images or image URLs will be listed here. So you can just review and you can ensure that there are all the products have images. So that is the second ONDC mandatory requirement. The next one is the summary description should be more than or equal to 60 characters. How do you check that? Again, it can be done in two ways. One is you can do it manually, one product at a time. You can go to the products section, click on edit, and once this page opens up, here, this is where you have the product description. You can just copy it, and there are so you can copy paste it to a Word document, or there are online tools available like this one, online character counters. You can just copy paste it here, and it says 591 characters. So this is how you can do that manually. But I mean, it is an effort intensive thing. Can it be done quicker and smarter? Yes, it can be. And for that, you can use the download product file. I will just quickly show you that file. So this is where we have the download product file. Now here you have to use a Excel formula, which is LEN, L-E-N. And if you You have to just give the reference of the column, this column which says summary, and this is where it will show you what is the character count. So this is where we have 669. This is where we have 1200 characters, 40 and 28. So these products, this one and this one, these two will not appear on ONDC because the length of the description is less than 60 characters. So you can work on updating the description so that the length of the description is more than 60 characters. All right. So this is the next thing that you have to be cautious of. And then we have the product price should be greater than 0, which is obviously should be, but just in case you have accidentally forgotten to update it, in that case, how can you check that? So again, it can be checked in two ways. One is you can just go to the product management interface, and that's where click on the product title and then click on this edit button. It will show you the price of the product, selling price. In case you have added the discounted price, it will be displayed here. So you can manually check it. But again, if you have a large catalog, then it is not a very feasible thing to do. In that case, what should you do? So in that case, you can use this file, download CSV file. I'll quickly show you where will you find the price related information. So on this file, if you look at this column, which is selling price. So it has the details of the selling price, which is the MRP of the product. And if you have added discounted price, it will be displayed here in this column. So very easily, very quickly, you can even apply a filter here, and you can see that the mandatory requirement is met with, which is the product price should be greater than 0. The product type should be checkout. So because we can have an inquiry or checkout, or we can have both. So in that case, it should be both, or it should be checkout. Inquiry products are currently not displayed on the ONDC network. Inquiry will be displayed in the ONDC B2B, but not on the B2C, which is currently live. So how do you check? So again, it can be done in two ways. One is the manual way, wherein you can go and you can check one product at a time. So for that, you have to click on this edit button, and then this basics details tab opens up. So this is where again scroll down, and towards the end, you'll see we have checkout and inquiry. So checkout should be checked, right? So if inquiry is checked, that is irrespective, but checkout should be checked. So it should be either checkout or it should be both. It cannot be inquiry only. Otherwise, it will not be displayed. So this is the manual way of looking at it. Can you do that in bulk? Yes, certainly you can do that. For that, you have to use the download product file, this file I'm referring to. So once you have downloaded this file, you have to refer to this column. Sorry, this is the file. You have to refer to this column which says product type. And here you can see checkout and inquiry, and these are checkouts, right? So these products can be displayed on the ONDC network. Had it been just inquiry, those products currently will not be displayed. If when ONDC B2B is live, at that time, they can also be displayed. All right. So that is about the checkout. Then minimum order quantity should be 1. So how do you check? So you can go click on edit, and minimum order quantity is displayed right here. It is currently 1. The default value is 1, but in case you have added a higher number, you can just quickly change that. So that is 1. The product visibility should be B2C or both. If it is B2B, then the products are behind lock and key. They are not accessible to the general public. So in that case, obviously, they'll not be visible on ONDC. So how do you check the visibility? Again, it can be done in two ways. So one is you can just edit the product, and if you scroll down, that's where you'll see the visibility. So it has to be both or B2C. It cannot be B2B. All right. So you should not choose B2B. So this is the manual way. The bulk way is again using the download product file, and this is where you have visibility. So it has to be B2B or B2C or both, not B2B, right? So these products are okay. All right. Now coming to the customization should not be enabled. So what is customization? So customization is a feature which is typically used by sellers who are in gifting business. So these days you can get a mug with your own picture printed on it, or you can get a pen with your name or your message written on it, those kind of products. So those kind of products are currently not supported on ONDC. So on your online store, you can use the customization feature to allow your customers to share with you the message or the visuals that they would want to get printed onto the product. Now, those products are currently not supported by ONDC. So in that case, you can turn off the customization. Where can you go and check that? So on the product edit interface, this is where you have the customization. So it should not be activated. So at the moment, it is not activated. So if you have already activated it, you can deactivate it. And once you have deactivated it, that's where your products will start appearing on ONDC network. The last one is integrated logistics should be enabled on your online store. So this means the logistics services which are integrated with the platform, at least one of them should be integrated or active on your online store. Let me show you from where you can activate these services. For that, you have to go to store settings, and after that, you have to go to shipping. And then this is where you see courier services. And here you have various services. Now, in case you are getting curious, how do I activate it? What is the process? So you'll find tutorial videos. All of them are available here. So you can either activate Ship or you can activate ShipRocket. So either of the two can be activated, and it will hardly take you a few minutes to activate any of them. So that is the last compliance requirement. Now, what I'm going to do is I am also going to share with you a resource here. This is a simple Google Doc, and let me just zoom in a little bit so that it is a little bigger and you can see it better. So this where all these mandatory requirements, I've listed them down and I've given a status column here, right? So when you are going through this process, you can use this as a checklist so that when you're doing each of the checks and just check whether it is done, and as you are going through it you can keep updating it. So it will like keep you on the track and it will help you in updating or activating ONDC quickly and without any confusion, because all the mandatory requirements are listed here. All right, so this is where we will now turn off the screen share, and we will now switch into or shift to the question answer round. So far, I can see there's one question only added to the Q&A, but there are like many chats there. So I'll firstly look at the question which is added to Q&A, and then we'll move on to the chat. So the question is from Shamgiri, and this is about if the correct category or the relevant category is not there on the drop down, because ONDC currently is not self-service supporting everything which is there. So there are select categories, about 6 of them are there, and every now and then they are adding newer categories. So this is where for the timing, in case you are not able to find the relevant category in the drop down, in that case you can reach out to me. I will guide you in terms of which category should you select. So I will be sharing my contact details in the chat shortly. So you can drop me an email that I'm representing, or I sell these kinds of products, but the relevant category is not available at the moment. Please advise. So in that case, I can suggest with you which other category you can select, and you can start selling your products. And then at a later stage, once the relevant category is live, at that time, you can remap the products. All right. So that is the first question. Now, before I forget, let me just quickly share my contact details. So just give me few seconds to do that. So I'm just adding my contact details in the chat. So if any one of you is facing difficulty with uh, activating ONDC, or you're not able to map your categories properly, or any other technical issue, in that case, please do feel free to reach out to me. So you have my contact details. I've just added them in the chat. So please do feel free to reach out to me. So the next question is a very interesting one, and this is where the username is Redmi9. So the question is about the charge of logistics on the ONDC network. So this is where, as a seller, you are defining the fees. So this is that's the beauty of the ONDC network or ecosystem, because on other platform you are bound by whatever they are there, right? So if they're forcing you to do free shipping, you are like you have to comply with that, or whatever commission they are charging. This is where it does not work like that. So this is where, because you own the products, you are defining the price, you are defining the logistic charges, and you are also defining the return period, right? And it is absolutely up to you. If you want to give return, accept return, you can do that, or you can just mark your product as unreturnable. So entirely up to you. It gives that flexibility. So for example, you want to charge 100 rupees, and in the seller panel there is a dedicated capability of shipping zone which you can use to set up that charges. Like if the customer is ordering from Delhi, I want to charge 100 rupees. If they're ordering from Mumbai, I want to charge 150 rupees. Like that is also possible. So you can set it up, and then when the customer is placing an order on ONDC, whatever charges you have defined on your seller panel, those will be applied, and customer will pay those charges. All right. I hope I've answered that question. Uh, Now, the next question is by Mode Polypack. So I'm not reading the question, but will it be shared on other websites? Yes, it is shared. So ONDC has, as I mentioned earlier, I'm not sure if you were there when I was explaining the construct. So you can imagine like there are two sides of it. So one side is the buyer side, and the other side is the seller side, right? And the flow of information between them is happening through ONDC, right? Now, there are multiple sell organizations representing sellers, and there are multiple organizations representing buyers, right? So all the buyer apps which are there, when you are joining through any of the seller application, and GlobalLinker happens to be one of the seller application. So when you are joining, you will be available, or you will be listing on all the buyer applications which are here, right? And you can go to ONDC website and you can check which all buyer applications are there at the moment. So you are visible there. Now, specific, there were two platforms that you inquired about, Amazon and Flipkart. So Amazon and Flipkart at the moment in the B2C space, they are not participating with ONDC, but they are participating in other activities related to ONDC, like in the B2B part or on the logistic part. But as buyer applications, these two marketplaces are not there. The other marketplaces are already there. Uh, Next question is from Suman. This is about exports. So, Suman, firstly, the current ONDC is not supporting export. It is coming through. It will be available very soon. So, stay in touch. As soon as it is available, we'll let you know. And at that time, you can start using ONDC to export your products as well. Next question, Rahul, can we sell agarbatti through ONDC platform? Yes, certainly. And again, clarifying, and this is where I'm not just saying it to Rahul, I'm saying it to everyone. ONDC is not a platform. A lot of people refer to ONDC as a platform, so it is not like Amazon and Flipkart. It's like a network. So me and you, we are connecting through a network of internet. Similarly, ONDC is connecting buyers and sellers, right? So it is a network through which the information is exchanged. It is not a platform. And because you are becoming a part of a network, so there are certainly some rules and guidelines which are in place. And I explained to you certain rules and guidelines when I was explaining the ONDC mandatory requirement, what are the other compliances that you have to comply, right? So there are rules and guidelines, or rules of the games which are there. But other than that, it is a network which is facilitating this cross connection which is happening between buyers and sellers. All right. And to your question more precisely, yes, certainly you can do that. So there's one point by anonymous attendee who's an exporter. So I would request you can drop me an email, and there are two things that we'll do. One is we will review your profile in your online store and understand uh, where are the gaps which you can improve, and then we will also connect over a one-on-one session so that I can guide you that how do you have to go about it, right? If you have to grow your export business. Next question is from Bipin Kumar about the RTO charges. So RTO is to be borne by the customer. In case the audience is not familiar with the term RTO, so it is written to origin. So this is sort of a scenario wherein a customer has placed an order, you have dispatched the order has reached to the customer, and the customer has rejected the delivery, or they have refused to take the delivery of the order. In that case, the order comes back to you. So the participant wants to understand that who will bear the cost of that reverse logistic, because the courier company will charge you for taking the product to the customer and then for bringing it back to you, right? So you will end up spending two times on the logistic. So who will bear the cost? The cost will be borne by the seller, and it is a cost of doing business. So this is something which is there. But obviously, there are interventions which are taken by the buyer apps as well, so that they are ensuring that or blacklisting customers who are frequently doing this kind of an activity, so that like sellers don't suffer. Next question is also from Bipin Kumar. So, Bipin, for shipping charges on your online store, there is a feature called shipping zones. You have to set up shipping zones on your online store. So, shipping zones are basically used to define delivery charges. So, for example, with shipping zone, you are setting up rules that if the customer's delivery address is, let's say, for Delhi, in that case, this much shipping fee is to be charged, right? So you are setting up those rules. So you can set up those rules on your online store. It is your discretion, whatever amount you would want to charge, or if you are working through a logistic operator. For example, you are working through Wamaship. So Wamaship will provide you a rate list. When just use the same rate list and put it on your online store. Now, when a buyer is placing an order, for example, they are placing an order on my store. So when they look at your product, they will see that this much is the shipping charge, which is being charged by the customer, which you have defined on your online store. You don't have to go anywhere else or do anything else. From your point of view or from a seller's perspective, all the management, order processing, everything is done from the existing online store seller panel. There is no new place where you have to go or no new thing that you have to do. So, sorry. So this is a very interesting question by Mr. Sachin, and wants to understand that what if we want to give a quantity discount? So in that case, and what you're referring, Sachinji, is referred to as a tier pricing phenomena. So at the moment on the online store, how you can handle tier pricing is you can create various variants. So for example, uh, you can create a variant of 0 to 5 unit, this is the price. 5 to 10 unit, this is the price. 10 to 15 unit, this is the price. So you can create tier pricing variants and use that to give this kind of discounting. Next question is from Ashwini, and this is about the bulk quantities. So, Ashwini, firstly, at the moment, ONDC or this ONDC joining activity that we were referring to, this is for B2C. This is where retail single unit orders are placed, right? So this is where the bulk ordering will come in sometime when B2B is something which goes live with ONDC. So that is one part of your question. Second is, do you have to keep the quantities ready or purchase give any time? So this is where in the current operational construct of ONDC, 24 hours is the turnaround time for any orders to be dispatched. In case you are not dispatching your order in 24 hours, that is where red flags are raised and there are a lot of queries that come in like why the order is not placed, and it affects your ranking also, because on ONDC the product visibility varies based on the ranking, right? So the entire ecosystem works on search, right? So seller buyers go to the buyers platform and they start searching for a product. Now which product should be displayed first and which should be displayed second and third? That hierarchy or the sort order is dependent on the ranking of each of the seller. Now, if you're taking more than 24 hours, that is where your ranking gets affected, right? So this is where in the current construct, which is the B2C construct, my advice will be that you should have certain products available with you so that within 24 hours you are able to dispatch. In case you can source between within 24 hours, in that case certainly you can like source and then dispatch it, but the turnaround time is 24 hours. That is something that you should keep in mind. Next question is uh, Redmi 9, and I am not familiar what other organizations are charging or something. This is where for ONDC, if you're wanting to understand, there are no charges and you can join in. Yes, buyer platforms charge a buyer finder fee, which is around 3.5%, which is charged plus taxes, which is charged. And it is added back to the price. So you are essentially, it's not going out of your pocket, it is paid by the buyer as a convenience fee. Next question is again anonymous attendee want to link blog to our website. Now this is where if it is related to linker.store, yes, certainly we will be more than happy to help you with any technical difficulty that you are facing. Next question again from Redmi 9. Can we keep our online store in all organizations? Yes, sir. So understand, when you are joining the ONDC network, you have to be visible on all the buyer apps. If any buyer app is not showing products from any other sellers, they can be held answerable for that and they have to provide an explanation why they are not doing that. So it is not like you have to go individually to each of the buyer application and tell them, hey, list my product. All you have to do is to join ONDC network. If you have joined the ONDC network, you have to be there on all the buyer apps, unless like there are specialized buyer apps. So for example, there's a cab hailing buyer app and you're selling products. So obviously that is not relevant to you. But if that there is a buyer app that is into the relevant product category, then they are required to show their product, right? They are mandated to show a product. Now, there are certain questions which I can see that are related to other organization. I will skip those questions. Uh, Next question is related to store themes. Yes, on the seller panel of your online store, you can go to in the left navigation, you can click on My Store and then you can click on Themes. And that's where you can see a number of themes which are available. There are two questions from Mr. Sachin. One is pricing tab is certainly there on ONDC. Second is ONDC currently is for domestic. International is something which will come in some time. So this is where, and this is from Shyam Giri. So this is where for these weekend orders, firstly, you have to see how the volume goes. So in case you start seeing volumes coming in over the weekend, you'll have to make some arrangements for that so that you don't shoot. Like it is not like you will be delisted from the ONDC network if you are overshooting this 24 hours deadline. But obviously, it will affect your ranking, and I don't advise that you should have a negative ranking or you should have a less ranking because obviously it will impact your business growth as well, right? So in case you see that there is a volume picking up and you have to uh, process orders on the weekend as well, you have to make some arrangements for that. Next question, I'm not very clear on that. Good packing for e-commerce selling. So if you're looking for packing uh, product sellers, or I'm not clear on that. So if you can elaborate on your question. Next question, Arani, and this is the last question which I can see here. So this is about how fast is the delivery process in ONDC compared to the other e-commerce platform. Again, ONDC is not a platform. And second is you are delivering the order. ONDC is not delivering the order. ONDC does have logistic operators which are part of the network, but with GlobalLinker, you are not using that. You are using the integrated logistic because the on network is more for convenience, right? So if you are a grocery store owner and you are part of the ONDC network, in that case, you will not have the ONDC, the courier partner integrations like we have on our online stores. So in that case, for those kind of offline businesses, those logistic integrations are available on the ONDC network. But here, because the integration is already available, so you are using Mamaship or ShipRocket. And this is where, as a seller, you are delivering the order. So with the speed of delivery and how quickly you are delivering, you are managing all that. All right, so that was something that those were the question. I could see in the chat. There's one last question I'm seeing, Mr. Rajesh, for packing of the products. So if you're looking for packing product suppliers, drop me an email. I can connect you. There are many suppliers on GlobalLinker only. I can connect you with few of them. And if you're looking for guidelines on how should you pack the products, etc., so just search for it. You will find a lot of tutorial content on the internet itself. All right, so any other question before we conclude today's session? Because I can see the same questions were also there in the chat. The last thing which I can read in the chat is, can we have the recording? Yes, certainly all of you will get the recording of today's session. All right, so this is where I don't see any other question coming in, and we have overshot our time by 10 minutes. So this is where I think we can conclude this session. But before I do that, let me quickly share my contact details once again. So in case any one of you is facing any difficulty or anything which I've shared with you is not very clear, or you need to understand certain aspects which are still there in your mind, so do feel free to reach out to me. You have my email ID. Drop me an email and I will connect back with you. All right. So this is where we'll conclude the session for today. Thank you everyone for taking out time and participating in this session. I hope you found this session informative and you'll use this information to start selling on the ONDC network. And trust me, this is a wonderful opportunity. And this is where I'm not just trying to get you onto the ONDC network. This is where I have personally seen startups or small town sellers uh, without any digital marketing. They are getting orders or without spending any effort on marketing their products through or by virtue of being on the ONDC network. They are getting a ready stream of orders. So this is a opportunity which is there, and it will be like criminal on our part as business owners if we are not utilizing the opportunity to grow our business. All right. So thank you, everyone. And we will connect again soon. Bye bye from our side for now.